Good afternoon. Hi, Precious.
I hear you struggling there.
Shoot. It was just giving me, you're using an invalid ID.
Oh,
and I'm like, wow, it can be. How are you?
I'm good, Suzanne. I'm trying things here, but it doesn't seem to be working.
I said, no, just try them. They will definitely work. They have to work. they need to work. You look lovely, by the way.
Thank you. I had to work on myself.
No, you did a great job, girl.
Well, you know.
Unfortunately, my video is not working. It's been weeks now. I'm not sure why. So I have an appointment at the office tomorrow. I'll be in Midrand. They said they need to check what's happening.
Oh, okay. I think I'm also gonna just
switch off your video.
Yeah, I was trying to switch on the the background, the visual background, because I see. Screen, but it's just
it's not working. You know what? These things. I always
leave it like this because I also don't want to have my nose on. You know how we are as black people with our noses.
Shame. No, try to see what will work so that we can be able to continue.
Yeah, I hope we are not recording. We are recording already. Oh Lord.
You are recording already. I've seen it. It said this meeting is being recorded.
My goodness. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
So we can't see you, and I haven't seen a long time. Suzan, how? This is so horrible.
I know. I'm very sorry that my video is not working.
I tell you're gonna be a regular. So we shall do this again and again.
No, definitely. I'll ask the IT at the office to actually fix this so that, you know what, everyone can be able to see me.
Okay. We seem to be fine now. Bonolo, would you make Suzan the co-host, please, before we start? Suzan, and also make sure that Suzan can share. Denise, you're gonna watch for the questions as usually, and I will introduce Suzan, and I will then allow Suzan to be able to present. Suzan, do you wanna try presenting before we start?
Yeah, I want to try that. I'm gonna go to the presentation and try to share it so that it's already up even before we. Are you able to see it?
Not yet, Sisi, so not yet. Let me also take off the audio on. Okay, no, we can't see it yet.
You can't see anything?
Not yet.
Okay. I'm gonna do this thing, show presenter view. Now I can see my cursor.
Do you still have your IT guy next to you?
No. I'm doing this from home. I'm only going into the office tomorrow.
Okay. Can maybe in the meanwhile, is it okay, because we're about to start in a minute, can I then show your screen then?
You can. Let me just try one last time. Can you see it?
Okay, let me stop sharing that. You go ahead.
Oh, can you see it?
No, my dear, we still cannot see it.
Oh, it's reflecting nicely here
On your
from my
side.
side. Yeah, as if.
Let me ask the other candidates. Joseph, can you see the screen? Because I can see Joseph. Denise, can you see the screen?
No, we can't, Precious.
No, we
Yes,
can't see it. We can't see it. Suzan, don't stress. You will then tell me. I will do the slide.
It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
I'm gonna end show. You try it from your side.
On my side, it's already appearing, and it looks amazing. Let's see.
Let me just do this. On your side, it's already appearing.
I hope so. Entrepreneurs, please confirm.
We can see.
Is it appearing? It's good.
Yes, it's good.
Oh, great.
Oh, lovely. It's only me. Let me see.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Thank you, Simon. Hello, everyone. Oh,
Good
I am so
afternoon, good
excited
afternoon.
to see you guys. I haven't seen you in a while. I've been doing webinars, private webinars these days, are not entrepreneur related, so I miss you guys. I hope you also have missed me too. And I have a wonderful friend, Suzan Mkhabela, who's going to take us through the services of ProductivitySA, but also I said to her, she's actually going to be a regular here. All the questions that you guys have, all the struggles you have when it comes to the services that ProductivitySA is providing, or where you feel you want to assess if you do qualify and so on. And right now, Suzan is looking for clients. And I'm so grateful, Suzan, for you. You have made time for this session today. Welcome. This is long overdue. We have been talking about this for a while. And yeah, welcome, Suzan. Just before Suzan starts, I just want to introduce Suzan formally. Suzan Mkhabela is a senior productivity advisor and a change facilitator at ProductivitySA. She has been doing this for more than 10 years. She specializes on advising, training, and coaching business owners to be able to improve their productivity. By profession, she's an industrial engineer, and she also has done quite a lot of things relating to change management as a specialist. In addition to that, what I love the most about her is that she loves what she does. Me and her, when we talk about the work that needs to be done in entrepreneurship, we just don't stop, because we feel as though we've just started. We are at the infant stage when it comes to entrepreneurship in South Africa, and there is more work to be done in terms of building up entrepreneurs that are actually going to build businesses that last, but also focusing on building systems so that our business is a going concern. Because one of the biggest challenges that we have, we are not running businesses that can outlive us. Actually, when we stop operating, that business dies with us. So, and Suzan is also loves studying. She's currently doing her MBA. I don't know where she finds the time. And Suzan, thank you so much, my dear, for being here.
Oh, thank you, Precious. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the opportunity. You are right. It has been a while. We've been chatting about this since last year. So it's long overdue. But you know what? Thank you so much for making this possible. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are all safe and you are all warm, because it's been crazily cold. So yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm not going to waste time. This is just an introduction into what ProductivitySA is doing. And I'm hoping out of this, we will be able to form, some relationship where I can even come and see your premises and so forth. So Prish, you can, go to the next slide. So before we look at productivity as a mandate, I actually have something that let me just check here. Okay. So in terms of our focus today, I will look at productivity as a mandate. We will look at, in terms of our footprint, where are we located? In which regions do we actually do work? Then we will look at productivity as a functions, and then do the productivity as a enterprise support programs and the criteria used, because I think, everyone that I'm meeting today is actually interested to see what we do, how we do it, and also if you guys, are qualifying or are going to qualify. So ProductivitySA is what we call a Schedule 3A public entity, and we report to the Department of Employment and Labor. Just like our name, we promote productivity in the sense that we want to promote employment growth and productivity with South African companies. So I think we're also meeting at the right time, whereby most of our businesses are really, really struggling. And as a result, ProductivitySA with its mandate, we are critically looking at everything that is happening and asking ourselves that through this mandate that we carry, how do we now help, all the businesses, big and small, especially the small businesses? And that is really, my passion and focus most of the time. So in terms of ProductivitySA's vision, we are there to lead and inspire a productive and competitive South Africa. I always say, I always want to be part of productivity dialogue. Wherever I go, we look at how do we inspire people to actually not give up, especially in, with what is facing us. It's very easy to actually, give up and say, with everything that is happening with small businesses, it really breaks my heart, because that's where my passion lies. But being a leader in ProductivitySA, we cannot tire. We need to really inspire each and everyone that we meet to become productive and to be competitive as well, as individuals, but also as business owners. So how do we do what we do? I see Denise has already said that if you want to type questions in the chat, you can, feel free to do so. I agree with you 100%, Denise. Thanks for that. So in terms of how we do, what we do, we help companies through diagnosing and look at what is it that they are going through in terms of operations, how do they perform, as companies, and then we would advise what is it that you need to do in order to improve. But Precious said something very important as well. Most of the companies that I've seen, they do not have proper processes, they don't have proper systems in place. And that is what we also focus on, because if you don't have proper systems, you don't have proper processes, doesn't matter how good you are, you will not be able to be sustainable. So after advising, we look at what is it that should be implemented, and we monitor and evaluate, solutions that we offer our clients. In terms of our value proposition, I will be going through, the two programs that I'm going to show you. Those are the programs that we use to actually, provide productivity and competitiveness improvement solutions in order to help companies to improve their productivity, their operational efficiency throughout, the business life cycle. So you can go to the next slide, Prish.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of our regional footprint, this is what we cover. This is where we are. In fact, we consider ourselves to be working everywhere. We are in region 1, 2, 3. So the first region, which is region 1, covers Gauteng, Northwest, and Limpopo. And I'm also part of that. So I operate in Gauteng, Northwest, and Limpopo. Our offices are in Midrand. That is the headquarters is in Midrand. So for Gauteng companies, mostly you'll find me there operating there, but also when I do, site visits and I do training and coaching, I do visit everyone who's in Gauteng. Currently, due to lack of resources, I'm only operating in Gauteng for time being, but we do cover Northwest and also Limpopo. We also have offices in Western Cape. We use our satellite office for Free State and also Northern Cape, and those areas are called Region 2. Then in the KZN, there's another office there. We also do East London, we do Cape, we also do, I'm just going to remove something here that is distracting me. We also do Mpumalanga. So sometimes my region, which is region 1, will also do Mpumalanga, which is, we consider it to be closer to us. So in terms of our executive manager, those are the people who are helping us, to actually carry the productivity mandate. We've got Lalani, Jansa van Rensburg, we've got Albert Brink in Western Cape. We also have Amelia Naidu, who is our executive manager in KZN, but also covering Eastern Cape and Mpumalanga. Prish, before I continue, do we have anyone outside Gauteng?
Yes, we probably do have. Guys, please indicate, is there people outside of Gauteng here? Just type also on your chart if you can, or just unmute yourself. There's definitely will be people outside of the province because our marketing material and stuff and content is entrepreneurs throughout the country.
Oh, I see. Okay, perfect then. Perfect.
We didn't do a lot of marketing in this. We usually actually have more than 200 entrepreneurs. Oh yeah, we have Limpopo, Mpumalanga. We definitely have a huge representative throughout.
Oh, that's great. It's out of interest because we do cover those regions, so I might not be able, to service other people here, but there will always be somebody to attend to you in other regions that I don't actually cover. So that's great. We can move. We can go to the next slide, please. I'm sorry, I'm not able to, to present from my side. Okay, I also see Sisa asking that can we have recordings? I'm pretty sure Precious will be able to provide. I've heard that the presentation is actually recorded. So Precious, we can move to the next slide.
Alien cells. Go right after. If we wait,
we seem to be having an echo. Precious?
I think we've lost Precious due to network and think she's probably trying to join back right now.
Okay.
Just one, entrepreneurs, as you join in, please now ask that we mute mics as we join. Yeah.
Yeah, there seemed to be an echo, but Denise, if you are able to hear me and if everyone is able to hear me, I'm just going to proceed from my end. I know that you are not able to see, the presentation because Precious seems to be having issues, but I'm going to continue from my side. Is that okay, Dennis?
Can you see the screen?
I can't see the screen, but I can hear you clearly.
Okay. So I'm picking up where we left off with Precious. So I've shared the screen.
Oh, I see. Are you able to project?
Yes, it is sharing.
Okay. All right. Let me see. I can actually see it now.
Okay, great.
Okay, let's continue. So in terms of productivity, as I have already mentioned that we are actually an extension of Department of Labor, Employment and Labor. So we are there to actually promote a culture of productivity in the workplace. I've already mentioned that, we facilitate and evaluate productivity improvements and competencies in workplaces. We also, support all the South African initiatives that are aimed at preventing job losses. I will be talking about a program called Business Turnaround and Recovery Program, but not, in details. I will only focus on the two programs later, but this is the other program that is also being used now that we are, in the COVID-19 times. And that program is just helping, companies who are in distress. So just continuing on ProductivitySA functions, we keep and maintain a database of productivity and competitiveness systems, and we do publicize, these systems. We also work very closely with what is called IMD. Most of you would know the Institute of Management Development. Their headquarters is in Switzerland. We work very closely with them as well in terms of, productivity rankings or ratings. So in terms of the programs, the two programs that I'm going to cover, those are the programs that fall within a program called Competitiveness Improvement Services. And I will just touch on the Business Turnaround and Recovery Program a bit. Like I said, you can continue, Denise, you can go to the next slide where we do ProductivitySA enterprise support programs. Okay.
You guys saw that I lost connection.
we did, we saw that. We saw that. Sorry about that, but we were able to continue
quite smoothly.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Christine is asking if we can enlarge on the screen, please.
Yeah, Denise, it must be in presentation form so that it's bigger.
Hi, Mzaifani. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Just
Denise?
indicated that they have joined in.
Presentation format.
Yeah, I hear you. Sorry, my computer's just thinking a bit slow right now. I've clicked on for it.
Okay. While she's doing that, I'm just going to continue because I can see the slide clearly.
Okay, let me do this. Let me try from my side, Denise. How is that?
It's perfect. It's perfect, Precious. Please go to the next slide. Great, thank you. So I think, you know, this is also a slide which everyone wants to see. Everyone is interested to actually check our enterprise support programs. So previously I've mentioned that we have what we call competitiveness improvement services, and we also have business turnaround. So as you can see, throughout the business life cycle, we are able to support and work with companies. So in terms of the emerging enterprises, very small businesses, we use what we call Kaizen, which is a program that I will be presenting and sharing information with you next. And for all the sustainable enterprises, we have what we call a workplace challenge program that we are using with sustainable enterprises, businesses with proper systems in place, proper processes in place, and they are well, they are good, they just want to become better and so forth, and improve, as aspects of their quality, on-time delivery and so forth, including, safety aspects. That's where we actually use a workplace challenge program. But for declining or companies that are in distress, there is what we call business turnaround and recovery. And I wanted to say, Precious, before we started, I actually wanted to check with you and say, for all the businesses that would be requiring business turnaround and recovery, I can actually arrange someone from that department to take, interested companies, potential companies, through this program. And because it's going to be a very long, detailed presentation, it will just require, an hour on its own. So although I'm mentioning this, I will not be going, in details in business turnaround and recovery program. However, people must feel free to ask questions. So
Okay.
throughout the business life cycle, we are able to, to support our companies, our clients. For all the businesses to be assisted, we have a specific criteria. It's not very strict. We just want to see if the company is operational. In terms of evidence, we look at things such as your invoices, your orders. We even do site visits to check, what is it that you have. We look at the financials. We look at, are you complying? We all know that, in South Africa, we need, to be complying with SARS, UIF, and so forth. So we also want to, to check that as a government entity, because if you look at our programs, you will realize that we are being funded by those departments. So we also check, compliance in that regard. So in terms of financials, we want to check financial health, but there are also certain things that we look at, through your financials. We are able to look at also, an under par performance areas, and that will help us to check what is it that we need to do, and what are the immediate things that we would need to focus on as we provide whatever solution we will be providing to you. So we can go to the next slide to look at the Kaizen project that I was talking about, to see the phases that are involved and what is it that we actually do. Okay, so in terms of competitiveness improvement program, I said we've got two programs. I'll start with this one, Kaizen Project. This is a program that we implement with companies for 6 months. We will be doing what I call hand holding. We will train, we will coach, we will support you, through meetings. You will come in and check progress like that. We also do audits whenever it is required. So in terms of Kaizen project, this is what we mostly do with small businesses. And our definition of a small business would be anything that has got an entity with at least 5 employees upwards, including management. So if you have a small business and you are 5 in total and you are operational, you actually will qualify for a Kaizen project for 6 months. But like I said, we will look at other things, regulatory compliance, and also financials, so that we can do the assessment. I've also shared with Precious before the presentation. I've actually shared with her a business assessment questionnaire that we also look at, so that we can actually understand how you operate. So the first intervention through Kaizen will be the assessment report from the financials that you would have provided to us. And through that intervention, we'll also be able to map the current state of your business, because our main focus is definitely on processes and systems that we have. So we'll look at your process flow analysis to look at the current state as it is, so that we can actually identify issues, things that are preventing you from being productive, and say, what is it that you will be doing? And then the next step or the next intervention will be where we are doing training for internal champions. So in this case, your internal champions, I'm going to use a small business. That would be the owner and key employees. We know that very often with small businesses, you find that somebody is the owner slash, everything, CEO. You are the one who's, in charge of everything that is in the business. And unfortunately, without you, the business will die. And that is something that we often see. That's why we prioritize capacitating those people, and we work, holding their hands. We actually walk with you through the implementation of Kaizen like that, because we know that if we are going to get anything right, we should be able to improve what you are doing first. So with the second phase, the second intervention, we map the processes, identify areas for improvement, and we will create the action plan for implementation. In other words, we would look at areas that were revealed by the assessment that we did. And through the discussion with the business owner, we are able to come to a point where we say, okay, this is what we need to prioritize to improve you, to actually take you to the next level. And let's train you, let's capacitate you, let's coach you in terms of continuous improvement. And by the way, as we would know, Kaizen is actually coming from the Japanese. It's something that is used by Toyota. So that's what we use as well. And you will see that most of the projects that we do through Kaizen, we prioritize what we call 5S, which I'm going to talk about later. When we go to intervention 3, because we would have trained you, coached you or maybe even, did audits, especially on 5S and so forth. Then we would look at how are you implementing, how are you managing based on the training and tools that we would have, provided. Then you would have to implement the improvements as per our agreement after we have, done training and coaching and maybe did a bit of auditing on whatever toolkit we would be using at that time. I'll be talking about, what kind of toolkits are we looking at a little bit later. The last intervention is where we check if whatever you've been implementing with us is really, helping you. Are you seeing results? So we have to monitor and evaluate if the projects that were implemented are actually helping you as a company. You are able to see, progress and improvement. So what we do as part of monitoring and evaluation, we also talk to other stakeholders like your CEDA and so forth, so that if there are other things that ProductivitySA is not able to do with you, we actually help you through the assistance of some of our stakeholders, some of our partners. But here on the fourth intervention, we also want to record the impact that you would have seen as a business, especially small businesses, because the Kaizen project, we mostly do this with small businesses. However, we do not discriminate against big businesses, which would just want to check how the whole thing works before they move into what we call workplace challenge program, which is for 12 months. And that brings me to the next slide. Denise, you can.
Suzan, before you move on, you keep on mentioning, I think even on this slide, you mentioned
Yes.
imaging and you mentioned sustainable enterprises.
Yes.
Can you be specific as to when it's imaging, what are you looking at? Are you looking at the number of employees, or are you looking at the turnover? Are you looking at the number of years that business has been acting, or are you looking at the sector that business is operating in?
Okay, so in terms of the emerging enterprises, we are mostly looking at number of employees and also the number of years that you've been operating. But as you would know, I might be very small in terms of the numbers. But when you look at my turnover, you find that my turnover I'm able to achieve a very high turnover. So we look at those things. Then from there, once we are in contact with that company, and we have, we did our own, assessment, we are able to place you correctly. But basically, when we look at emerging enterprises, as companies that have 5 employees up to 15, from 5 to 15, then we will place you under emerging enterprises. Then we'll look at other things like your turnover and so forth. The main thing that is just an overriding, a criteria that we look at. We don't implement Kaizen or workplace challenge with companies that have not been operating more than 2 years. So if you've been operating, for example, for 6 months or just a year, you will not qualify, to do any of these 2 programs. However, with those companies, we mostly offer awareness programs whereby there's a workshop somewhere and we are just doing a workshop on that particular day and so forth. I don't know if that answers your question, Precious.
So then maybe I might have misinterpreted. So anyone who's less than 2 years, they, according to you, they are startup, they don't fall on this program.
they don't fall on this program.
Okay.
Anyone who's less than 2 years would be a startup. They don't actually fall on this
Okay.
program. Yeah.
Okay, so imaging is actually longer than 2 years at the specific turnover and the number of employees, a combination of those, including the sector, because guys, you also have to understand DTI has specific sectors of which the entities that are within DTI need to focus on. So if maybe your sector is within that sector which DTI has prioritized as per their strategic document, you might fall under imaging if you are above 2 years, but not necessarily qualifying based on number of employees or turnover. So just keep that in mind, that it could be the combination of any of those.
Yes, you are right.
Okay, no, that is good. Please, let's then proceed to this one, the work skills.
And just, to add on what you have said, I know that recently, even the 5 employees criteria, as somebody who's on the ground, and I'm working with, mostly small businesses, we have had to ask both DTI and ProductivitySA to actually relax that criteria, because previously it was at least 10 employees. And we had to say, I was one of the people who actually said, if we are only including, only 10 upwards, it's a bit stricter. So we had to relax, the criteria, to say, let us also cover, companies that have got only 5 employees and so forth. And because Kaizen is free, I also had to mention that Kaizen is free, for all the qualifying companies. For 6 months, we will be with you doing training, coaching, auditing, checking what are the things that are actually preventing you from growing. So, but it's free. The only program, yes, I said it correctly. The only program that you will need to pay something for is this one, the Workplace Challenge Program, Workplace Transformation Program, which is 12 months, but also can be 24 months. And you will see what I mean if I say it can be 24 months, because the modules or the toolkits that I'm going to present, they are 4, and you will have to implement each one for 6 months. So it can be either 12 or 24 months. So in terms of the workplace transformation program, we work with stable businesses that have been operating for at least 3 years. You will, need to have at least 15 and above employees. A bit different from Kaizen, because in Kaizen it can be 5 and upwards. So at least 15 employees. In terms of turnover, we are not really specific, but it should be showing, an upward trend. It should be increasing year on year. It can be small, medium, large, but it should be a stable business. Systems in place, processes that need to be improved. And this program is there to help South African companies to improve productivity and competitiveness. So we look at, through the implementation of this program, we're looking at 3 pillars. We're looking at collaboration between employers and employees. We're using best practices. We also focus on sharing of lessons. So in terms of collaboration, as we all know, when you go into organizations, there's been a lot of, us and them, or them and us, when you look at how we operate, whereby most of the time employees do not understand what business owners are aiming for or are pushing for, what your vision is, there will always be, that rift, that gap between why we should be doing things, how we should be doing things, and so forth. So we're looking at the collaboration aspect in terms of your vision, and we help you to actually translate it and articulate it in a way that can help the whole company to now focus on common goals. And in terms of best practices, we are looking at best practices in the sense that, one needs to create a platform in an organization whereby continuously you are learning, depending, on which sector you are. You continuously learn, what are those things that you should do that should drive you or take you to the next level. In terms of, we look at things like, waste elimination, which is really also one of my passion, because it's something that I see very often with companies that I work with. And we actually manage to reap the greatest fruits from just looking at processes and eliminating non-value adding activities. And there are so many. And the other thing that we do in terms of sharing lessons, because the workplace transformation program, it's being, run or managed through clusters, whereby we cluster a couple of companies, 5, 6, 7, and so forth. We are able to get these companies together to also learn from each other, because you might be, doing a leather bags manufacturing business. The other one might have a workshop somewhere. The other one might be, manufacturing juices somewhere, the other one. But when you look at, most of the challenges that you go through as business owners, you start to realize that most of them are very similar. So we get these people to cluster up, these companies to cluster up, and we are using same geographical areas to do this as we implement this program, so that they are able to even, visit each other. When I started with ProductivitySA somewhere in 2008, the cluster, model was actually very strong, and we had a couple of clusters. But over the years, what I've seen is that because we've been finding it very difficult to actually cluster companies. So whenever a qualifying company is interested, we don't wait for the cluster. We actually, try by all means to go and service that particular company. But in terms of sharing lessons, that's what, we do for those companies that would belong in a cluster. We can go to the next slide.
Thank you, Suzan. One question that is coming from Simon. He says,
Okay.
if a company is being newly acquired, has been though existing for 22 years with 8 employees, but they were bought by a new director and then registered under a new company name, which is 4 months. Will that still be classified as a startup? Yes. Without waiting for Suzan. Go ahead, Suzan. Sorry, girl.
Okay, so if you have a company that has been in existence for 22 years, right? And they've got 8 employees. That's what you said, right?
Yes, but they registered a new business to actually transfer this old company to another company.
Yes, I get it. But what I wanted to ask, does this a new company have access to old records of the previous company.
Simon, do you want to unmute yourself? Let's engage. When you were buying the other new business, did you buy it as a going concern? Simon, please unmute yourself.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Good
When you were
afternoon,
buying the
Simon.
business-
Yes, actually, the outgoing director happened to be selling the business and migrating as well as retiring. And
So tell me something. Why did you guys register then a new business?
we happen to have our own business registered, and we were interested to purchase this one after ours was already registered. And our company happened to purchase this other
Did you
business.
did you get all the records of
Yes.
that business since the inception?
Yes, during the due diligence, which took 2 weeks, all records have been received.
Okay, we are not talking about due diligence records here. We're talking about systems. We're talking about SOPs. We're talking
Yes.
about the intellectual property of how that business is supposed to run, not the due diligence, because due diligence usually focus on finance.
What we've also discovered is the business was not formally registered in so many activities, including CIPC, but previously on SARS, those sole proprietors.
Okay, I think, Simon, your case is quite complex. It will need for the consultant to sit down and check what document you have and how, or to what extent they have the information to justify any support or to see which support is suitable for you. Because by the nature that the name is no longer the same, it means the requirements will automatically also be falling on the new company. But Suzan also can add on how will they approach this, but it seemed to me quite complex. It's not just straightforward.
No, I actually agree. We will have to, sit with Simon and the team and to check, what exactly is happening there so that we are able to place them correctly.
Thank you.
Simon,
We'll
does that
expand the
help?
discussion afterwards.
No
Simon?
problem, Simon, does that help?
Thank you. We'll discuss the expansion afterwards. Thank you.
Yes, great, thank you.
Okay. I love how Simon is very confident that we will be discussing the expansion afterwards. I would love to really understand what is happening there so that we can be able to to assist and place them correctly, because like I said, for workplace transformation program, you would have to be a stable business in all aspects. So, but it's fine, we can take it offline. So, I was talking about the pillars that we look at: collaboration, best operating practices, and also, sharing lessons and so forth as we implement, productivity and continuous improvement within workplace challenge program or workplace transformation program. So one of the some of the key strategies that we are looking at, it's best practices that would include implementing leadership practices that promote teamwork, participation, continuous learning, and flexibility. We know that, with the COVID-19 example, you can't do without continuous learning. I never thought I would, when I joined ProductivitySA, I never thought I would be, doing workshops and, things like that, checking up with companies and so forth, using, webinars and being on Teams, using Zoom and all of that. I think for most of us, when these things, we knew about these things, But when they came, we thought, maybe in 10 years or so. But we were actually forced, to come to a time where we are forced to learn about these things. So in companies, we need to be continuously learning and be able to be flexible enough to operate. And another best practice that we look at is that one of focusing on simultaneous improvement of quality, on-time delivery, operational cost, and also improving employees' morale, because that is another aspect of helping your own company to actually improve. You need your people to have high morale. But we also, as we implement the program, look at and help companies to actually establish closer links with their own customers and suppliers. And often, Precious, when we look at this aspect, most of the organizations will tell you, no, we've got this customers on the database, we taking good care of them, we've got strong suppliers that are enabling us to do business and all of that. But that's not where it actually starts. We also looking at internal customers and suppliers, so that would talk to processes to say, how fast enough are we in terms of saving the next section, the next whatever workstation. How good are we with our own internal processes and systems? And that's what we look at. That's a very critical element that actually kills most of the businesses, because while you looking outside, you don't take care of what is happening internally. And then just moving on to the next one, we also look at linear and non-linear improvement initiatives. We talk more about this when we do the actual training, whereby we look at continuous improvement, but we also look at other big investments that companies are able to do or implement within their own setups, whereby they invest in either machines, or they get a system in place that enables them to be competitive compared to to the next company in their own industry. We also look at eliminating all forms of wastages and making value flow, and that is when we focus on processes to ensure that you are only focusing, as a business, you are only focusing on value adding activities that will actually allow you to be more sustainable, to be competitive, to be able to implement productivity initiatives in a proper way. So when we look at best practices, basically those are the things that we look at. So now I've spoken about modules, toolkits, things that we implement with companies, and we've got 4 toolkits that we are using. Somebody's saying, what happens when a company is experiencing a serious financial crisis? Which product does Productivity SA? I can't see the question anymore, but I think he's also saying what product does Productivity have or offer in that case. We do have, we do have a business turnaround, which I've already said, Precious, I will arrange for a specific presentation on business turnaround. I'll talk to one of my colleague who is a business turnaround and recovery program specialist, that they will be able to come on board and be able to take through clients who are interested in that, companies who are interested in that, because it's such a long presentation and process. They will be able to explain on that properly.
Okay,
Is
Suzan,
that okay?
no, that is good. Yeah, no, that is good. But Caesar, start working on your business to figure out why your business is in financial crisis. Do your own analysis so that when the consultants are coming, we are able to answer the questions to then lead them to know what is the appropriate tools and approach in dealing with that financial crisis.
True. I totally agree. And one of the things that we can actually do way before we even meet companies that are in financial distress, when precious, let's circulate, let's share that assessment, that questionnaire that I've shared with you. I think it will also help, because you can be able to see, certain elements, or how the business has been operating over a number of years. I think it gives a space for at least 3 years. And then we will also be able to ask relevant questions once the business has filled that questionnaire. So if they can all, get that, the ones that are in financial crisis and the one that consider themselves to be stable.
Okay, we will definitely do that. Entrepreneurs, when we have done the recording, we'll load it on that YouTube with this presentation, plus also that link, so that we do not have quite a lot of admin to send emails, because some of you are not necessarily subscribers to our newsletters. Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you. Please, we will continue.
Okay. So when we do the workplace transformation program, which can be a year or 24 months, we've got goal alignment. In terms of goal alignment, we look at the company vision, we look at your mission, we look at your strategic objectives, so that we help you to actually, align yourself and be able to articulate your vision and mission to the rest of the organization, and also be able to engage employees in the organization to say, this is where I need my company to go. Very often we've got our own plans somewhere stashed in a laptop, and certain things, critical things about the company, even end up only in the boardroom, and the rest of the organization is actually operating not in line with what you would want to see for your company. So when we implement goal alignment, we do training, we do coaching, we even do audits on goal alignment, whereby we help the whole company to be able to talk together, to push towards achieving common goals through what we call mini business concepts, whereby different teams will be called what we are calling mini businesses. They look at their own performance in line with what is actually required by your own company vision. So each and every team should be working towards achieving the company vision. And we also help companies to create an environment where different teams are able to solve problems. They come up with bright ideas as they implement continuous improvement. Just to give an example, Precious, we used to work with, most of you would know Centurion Systems. The automated gates. Some of you have.
Yes, I know them, yeah.
Yes. When they implemented goal alignment some years back, I think it was when I joined ProductivitySA. Through goal alignment, you would have those monthly meetings whereby the MD comes and has a talk with all the employees, and they really emphasize on the business plans that they have, where they are going, even including how much the company has actually made. And if there are losses, share those things. If there are profits, share those things. they actually managed to create a very transparent communication with their own employees, and they used to implement goal alignment so well. They were actually one of the most performing companies within the cluster, the Gauteng cluster at that moment. So when we do goal alignment, the whole idea is to help the whole company to move in one direction. Yeah, looking at all your strategic objectives so that they don't end up somewhere in your boardroom. And in the meanwhile, you are actually frustrated to say, how do I actually, articulate to all the teams what needs to be done, what the challenges are, and so forth and so forth. So when we implement goal alignment, one of the key things that you would see, physically, it's visual performance, whereby each and every team is also required to share how they are progressing, how they are performing in terms of quality, speed, which is on-time delivery, operational cost, safety aspects, and so forth. The whole performance of the organization should be visible and should be known by all the teams so that people know where the organization is going. So
because you're right, most of the time this end up being mainly focused on the owner or the director of the company.
Yes.
It's never shared,
Yes.
because the way we're running these businesses, it's our own goals, whereas how you build a business is about employing people who are cheaper than you, but you charge more to your clients than what you pay them. So you're not going to grow your business if you don't have employees. And building up that support and that structure also have to be driven by performance, but the performance must be visible based on your strategy. And some of you are still struggling with a clear understanding of what strategy is, how a strategy then fits into this KPIs that Suzan is talking about. So I've just shared a link which you guys should have already done to have a look at that. There's a product that is called Simplified Strategy Online. Have a look. We also did a video. If you have any questions, send up on WhatsApp. We will then address those questions. Thank you, Suzan.
Okay. Thank you, Precious. That is really what we find with most businesses. You are so right. So the next one, without wasting more time, the other toolkit that we have, and I must say, in terms of all the toolkits that you are going to see, none of them is implemented in sequence. So you don't have 1, 2, 3, 4. We implement this according to business needs. When we come into your company and realize that this business should be rather starting with cleaning and organizing, that's what we would prioritize first. So in terms of toolkit 2, which is cleaning and organizing, this is what most of the people, and even in Japan and in Toyota, if you go there, they call 5S. You will hear most of the people who are implementing this toolkit saying that we are implementing E5S. So in terms of 5S, or cleaning and organizing toolkit, we focus on the physical the physical environment, whereby we want to improve, how things are organized. You would know, entrepreneurs, that most of the places that we operate in, you might find that they are really cluttered to a point where when we want to do work, you are not able to find the equipment, the things that you should be using, including the tools that you should be using. So we're using 5S to help companies to actually declutter their places, their workspaces, to actually create an orderly, clean environment. But that on its own, it improves productivity. as you reduce wasteful activities such as searching and so forth. But also, through 5S or cleaning and organizing, we also look at improving processes, because this is one toolkit that we also look at to say, what are the non-value adding activities? What are the wasteful activities that you are busy employing as you do work on daily basis? Then there's the third one, the third toolkit, which is teamwork. On teamwork, we focus on making sure that you have a versatile teams. You've got a versatile, competent workforce, and we use things such as skills metrics to actually help companies to enhance skills, especially what we call critical skills. So there are tools that we expose companies to, that they can use to actually multi-skill their own employees. Then we can move on, and everything that we do, we are doing so that you can be able to perform better than you are actually performing at the current moment. Then the other critical toolkit is leadership. We've got a leadership module that we are doing, and the focus there would be on your business owners, champions such as team leaders, supervisors, and so forth, and other key employees. Like, for instance, if you have your environment is unionized, you've got union people, shop stewards and all of that, we also include them, involve them throughout the program. But especially when we do a leadership toolkit, we also include them, because if you have unions within your organization, they should be pulling with you in the same direction. Otherwise, whatever you are trying to implement might not work. So here we are looking at, capacitating leaders with coaching skills, motivating skills. How do you empower your own team? But also, how do you manage change? Because if you look at the two programs that I've already implemented, it means that whatever we are going to implement, you need to be seeing certain changes. So it's also about how leaders will be able to manage change, the things that are changing, and also manage people as they go through change. These are the impact measures that both ProductivitySA and the DTI as a funder would want to see. We would want to see, improvements in terms of quality, cost, your own delivery, safety, and also increase in morale. So as you can see, there are a number of things, there are different things that we are looking at. You might get a company whereby they've got so many customer complaints and they are not sure why, or they are dealing with defects, or there's a lot of rework and they are not able to detect what are the issues within their processes or systems that are causing, so much challenges. And those are the things that we would want to improve. So when we say we record impact on intervention 4, when we implement, for example, Kaizen, these are the things that we look at. We want to come to your company and draw a baseline, be able to say, okay, this is where you are, and with what we are going to implement with you, that's actually helped you to improve these aspects of productivity. We can move to the next slide, which I think will be getting us to the end of our presentations. So other benefits that companies who are participating on the workplace challenge program or workplace transformation program are getting is things like your skills development, whereby champions are trained throughout the year. You'll have your employees, especially those who are leading, in terms of processes, they're being trained. There's capacity building for your staff. You participate in what we call milestone workshops, whereby companies come together, they celebrate their successes. You are also able to network in this platform. For example, I think in September, I will check the date, we will be having a Gauteng milestone workshop, and I would really love Sis Precious to invite people that we have here today, so that they can at least see what we mean when we say we are doing a milestone workshop. They will be able to see some of the companies who have implemented some
I
of
will
our
get to the
programs.
dates, Sissy, throughout the province, because I think you used to share those dates with me on where
Yes.
you're gonna be. Yes,
Yes.
maybe let's start doing that. Denise will remind us this time.
Definitely.
Because me and you are not good.
No, me and you are not good at all. We definitely need Denise. So those would be, some of the benefits. And in terms of costing, the 12 months program based on clustering is heavily subsidized by DTIC. These days they are called DTIC, no longer DTI. And as we can see, for example, a small business, black owned, with from 15 to 50 employees, you'll get support days. This is where I will be, or we will be physically there, at your premises, 24 days. In terms of the total cost for material and support, because we do have booklets, we come to you for support, in terms of training, coaching, audits, and so forth. That particular company would qualify for a grant of 110,400, which means the subsidy is 84%. The total portion that will be paid by a company in that 12 months will be only 20,850. So a DTI.
And are you allowed to pay it over 12 months, Suzan?
You can.
Wonderful.
Yes, you can do an arrangement with us to say, I'm not gonna do a 2 or 4 payments arrangement, but I am committing to paying a monthly installment until I finish up the 20,850. You are allowed to do that.
That is 1,800 rand. I mean, that's like nothing. It's absolutely, I don't even think your airtime to MTN or Vodacom or Cell C is that much. But yeah.
Yes, so for qualifying companies, as long as you small, black owned, that's what you will be qualifying. Only that, yeah.
On here, it's a little bit confusing. Maybe explain between the 15 and the first line and the second line, what's the difference?
So the difference is that the first one, you are black owned. And until you have those companies who are small, but they are not black owned.
Oh, okay. So the other one is actually other companies, just general companies. So for small businesses. So this group, I think, is mainly going to fall on the first line. I think I have 1 or 2 white people.
Yes, I believe so. So black owned would be qualifying for that, highest subsidy. And then you've got the other one, which is small, but it's not necessarily black owned.
Okay.
And then it will have a different subsidy, and also a portion that they will have to pay because they are not black owned. And that costing brings us to the end of our presentation. And Precious, you have my permission to share the presentation with the entrepreneurs, as long as they don't, do anything to the presentation, they don't edit it and share it in any other form. It's for, information's sake, so that they can actually go back to it and refer.
Yes, what we're gonna do, we will PDF it when we load it on YouTube link, so that they can download, because others, they say send and they lose the emails, and then they send us and say please send. So we just prefer now to just load
Yes.
it on a social media platform that we use to load the videos. Suzan, it has been wonderful as always to have you. I'm looking at the chat box. There are no questions. Can I have people raising their hands? Then if maybe there is no one. Nwabisa, we will not be sending direct emails from using people that have registered for this. Guys, please keep in mind there is a POPIA now. Sharing of your emails, and especially on open platforms, is just not a thing to do. Because you have registered, we will automatically also register you on our newsletter. However, if you have not, please register on our newsletter. We will send through the presentation plus also the link on the YouTube for this recording, and also we'll share the channel. Please check on the top. Bonolo did share the channel, which will, and put your notification, subscribe and put a notification, because we're going to have a series of this. If there are entrepreneurs that are interested to actually find out about how to deal with financial crisis and how can ProductivitySA assist, please, guys, hit us with a message to Denise. No, I think maybe send to Bonolo at gadcs.co. Send your interest in these. Lucas is not hearing me. Lucas, we are doing exactly the same thing as I'm talking about with, so the social media that we use, Mazofan, I hope I pronounce your name correct. We're gonna use all social media, but for you to download and get the recording of this, you will get that on YouTube. And check in this chat box, there is a link that Bonolo has posted. I will ask Bonolo to repost again. I also did post earlier.
Okay, Nokukanya says, thank you for the presentation. It's a pleasure, Nokukanya. And as Precious has already mentioned, I am looking forward to be a regular on this, because Sis Precious, besides those formal programs that we have, whereby we've got contracts with specific clients or companies. Besides that, I'm also seeing that through this platform we are also able to run some of the workshops that we might need we might see a need for, whereby those companies do not necessarily meet our own criteria of having formal contracts with them, but we can be able to use your own platforms as a way to capacitate entrepreneurs going forward in terms of productivity.
Yes, so guys, what we expect from you, I know because it's the first time we are hearing these things in terms of information. What I expect from you guys is that go through the video and listen to it. Go through ProductivitySA website and also go through the presentation. Send us the questions. We'll consolidate the questions and invite Suzan again to do the presentation. Number two, those who are in financial crisis, send us that information so that we can see how many people they are. If we have more than 15 people saying we are actually in financial crisis and we've analyzed and we've looked at things, I would prefer that I run a session with you guys to help you to analyze where your problem is, so that when we invite the lady who's gonna support us from ProductivitySA, we've already done some work. Because the worst challenge we just generally have as consultant and business coaches is to come and ask questions to the business owner, and the business owner does not have the information in tip of their hands. And that then takes the process longer.
True. Very
So,
true.
yes. Suzan, please share any of the things maybe you can give us as a head start on what are the things that maybe the entrepreneurs need to look for, and why would, in other instances, someone will qualify in terms of the list, but then you end up exiting. One of the things that I want to share with entrepreneurs, what I have seen, because you don't pay the price, you saw that most of the things is actually, it's practically free to get the service. You don't take an advantage of the value and Suzan's time or Precious's time, whether Precious is subsidized by whoever, because it's free. You do not follow through. And that's the worst thing that I've seen, what happens with us as entrepreneurs. And maybe Suzan, share some of those issues that you have come across that help people to understand what mentality, what mindset they need to have before they start a program like this, because it's long, it's 12 months. So you're gonna need to know and pace yourself. You're gonna need to put time aside. You're gonna need to know that to build a business, you need systems. If the business does not have systems, that business does not exist.
No, very true, Precious. Those are the things that we see, we actually come across, with businesses, especially on Kaizen implementation, whereby for a period of 6 months, the idea is to actually capacitate the business on the most basic things that you can do in terms of implementing, productivity. And you find that things such as getting your finances in order, making sure that, you are compliant, you find that the business doesn't have that. When you get there after, agreeing that this is the plan that we would follow, people telling you that, no, today, we are not even able to attend training. Those are the things that really, discourage me when I have seen value, out of this for other companies who are actually committing to this, and they are really committing. For instance, when you implement, simple things such as a 5S, which can really, benefit a company if you commit, you find that there isn't even, somebody who's gonna be in charge. We one of the things that we do, we ask, companies to formalize a team that we can capacitate, a team that can lead this process when we are not there. You find that simple things such as that are not even put in place. So you capacitate people, one person leaves, then when you come, you need to you keep on restarting same things that you have done. And by that time, the 6 months is gone. The company is not even able to share lessons that they have learned. And one of the things that I do is that I encourage small businesses to understand that they might be small at that particular moment, but that's not where you are going. That's not where you want to end. So I am a small business mentality is killing most of the business owners that I actually meet. Somebody is saying it's actually you, Precious. I was just seeing the message. There's no succession plan in place. We never think about those things. So when we bring in this mindset that we should look at our proper processes and systems and so forth, it's with an intention that our small businesses need to grow. They need to improve, but you need the basics in place, isn't it? So if you don't have that, even when we try to implement simple things, they do not work because, some of the businesses, I don't want to generalize, they are not actually committing to, simple things. So yeah, those are the things that
You know
coming to
what,
mind.
Suzan, next time I'm gonna invite you on to have another session where me and you are just discussing. And
Yes.
we're going to look at all business functions and say, okay, which areas do we find them to be failing the most here and here and here? And then we share that with them so that they watch out, entrepreneurs watch out for that. But I also think in most instances, they do compliance because someone is asking for it. They don't see compliance as a non-negotiables. And I remember as an auditor, you know my story that I started as an auditor.
Yes.
And then there was nothing to audit. You know? Crazy. And it dawned on me that majority of entrepreneurs, no matter how long they have been operating, they actually did not even have the basics. Understanding which forms I'm supposed to have, for which legislation, how long I need to keep that for, why do I need to keep that? And all these basics were just not in place. But guys, we are at the right place. We do have a full program on finance success and it's all free. We are no longer charging for this because it's an old program. We're updating it and we're loading new videos on that YouTube channel. Please have a look at that. Just for you to watch and start putting these systems together. We are releasing the third edition of the book. We will be looking at other things that we can add that can support and help you to improve your productivity. We are gonna really request Suzan to commit at least 2 hours once a month or every 2 weeks to just put some time for us to tackle some of these solutions and problems, but also coming up with a way on how you should deal with these things and provide you with tools on where to start. And guys, thank you so much for your time. We had a network issues today, but we're good. I don't see any questions. I don't see any hands. Can we then close? Entrepreneurs, I think I'm done on my side.
Thank you, Precious. I'm also done. You know, with everything that you said, ProductivitySA through myself will definitely look at what the needs are. I would encourage everyone to actually go through the business assessment questionnaire that I've shared with you, so that we can be able to look at you know, those issues. And check if they are low-hanging fruits that we can be able to prioritize with them.
Okay, my dear, tell me something. Do you have access to it? Can you share the link again here on the chat box?
I am not able to at the moment. I will definitely ask, there's a colleague of mine, Dorcas, from the marketing to share that with us.
No problem. Okay, Sissy, please also resend it to me because I've just restarted my machine. The WhatsApp from you has not included that email.
Not a problem. I will send that questionnaire again.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, entrepreneurs. We will communicate. We'll include the questionnaire on the YouTube account, but we'll also send you guys that email for those who are subscribers on our newsletter. Thank you so much for attending today. God bless you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Bye.
lovely
Thank you.
Thank you.
Denise, can I exit now? Denise?
Yes, you can.
The recording and everything is all well.